Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about who should be headlining the UFC White House card. Now, I know a lot of you have heard that Pereira's vacating his title because now they're having an interim championship. But a lot of people are rumoring that it's going to be John Jones versus Alexander Pereira. And guys, don't forget, I told you guys, I knew John Jones is going to want to do the UFC card at the White House. Why? People are saying he's got what's it called? Arthritis in his hip. Let me tell you something. I know John Jones. I trained with him for a long time, okay? I'll tell you something. His arthritis will magically go away. Poof! It'll poof, disappear if he gets that UFC White House main event money. I guarantee you the arthritis will disappear, especially if he's fighting Pereira, which I don't think he will. They might announce it this coming week. Okay, this coming week. This is Sunday today. You guys are probably going to be listening to this on Monday. Some of you are staying up late Sunday night to listen to it, but a lot of you are going to hear it on Monday, and you're going to be probably hearing also a day or two later that John Jones is on the card. But I'll tell you something. That's not the fight we need at the White House. Pereira versus John Jones is going to be a one-sided beatdown. It's going to let all the fans down. We love Pereira. We love John Jones. Sure, put it together, disaster. Pereira's good for certain main events. John Jones is amazing for certain main events. But together, it's not going to be good. Let me tell you why. Everybody's going to pick John Jones. Everybody. Everybody and their grandmother is going to pick John Jones. It's going to be the main event. White House, the excitement's going to be in the air. The fight's going to start, and it's going to be a quick takedown, a submission, a beatdown. And it's going to be what we expected. If we get what we expected, everybody's going to be unhappy. Everybody's going to complain about the card. Everybody's going to hate on the card. It's going to be negatives, just negative for the sport. What we do need at the White House is Ilia Topuria. That's for sure. We need Ilia Topuria. He's the one guy, if he's in the main event, we're all going to enjoy our night either way. Whether he wins or loses, we're going to love it. Now, the number one opponent they can give him, the number one opponent who's already said he's available for the White House card. He's already said that after Ramadan, he's ready to do the White House card. And he's ready to fight Ilia Topuria is Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev has publicly stated that he's not training during Ramadan. By the way, Ramadan Kareem to you all. I hope your Ramadan is going well. He said he's not going to train during Ramadan, but after Ramadan is done, he's ready to start getting ready. He's happy to start getting ready for the White House card. And who does he want to fight? Ilia Topuria. That's the fight we need. Ilia Topuria can become the UFC's first 3-division champion. He can become the undisputed GOAT in one night at the White House. Never before done. Somebody winning 3 divisions and somebody fighting in the main event at the White House. It would be historic if he can go in there, and actually he'll be the first man to attempt for 3 belts. He'll be the first man to ever attempt for 3 belts, having won 2. Therefore, it would be historic even if he loses. Now, if we had the 2 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world fighting in the main event at the White House, that would be colossal. It would be colossal. Now, if you have Pereira versus John Jones, look, we're all going to tune in, but we're all going to bellyache after. Why? They could have done better. Why could they have done better? Give us a fight. We don't know who's going to win. The build-up, the talk, the experts picking opposite fighters. Give us the anticipation of finding out, tuning in to see who's going to win this fight. With John Jones and Pereira, it's just going to be, and I'm scared that's what we're going to get. I'm scared that's what we're going to get. I love Pereira, guys. I love John Jones. I love to watch him fight. But I'll tell you something. This is not a good recipe. Why? John Jones will beat him too easily. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's 10 times the rest, 1,000 times the wrestler. 1,000 times. He's going to take him to the ground, play with him like a little baby bunny, and he's going to put him away when he's done playing with his food. It's going to be a disaster. Guys, I really hope that's not the main event we get, and we're probably going to hear what the main event, the UFC is going to tell us what the main event is, hopefully this coming week, the first week of March. Okay, so now we're March 1st. The first week of March, we should know the big name that's going to be in the main event. I'm hoping we hear the name Ilia Topuria. Now, if you don't get Makhachev Topuria, we get probably Topuria Gaethje. Now, that would also keep me excited. I would be happy. I would take that. I would take that over John Jones versus Pereira. And let me tell you why, okay? Because Gaethje's an American. He'd be the Rocky Balboa, the true life Rocky Balboa. Like, none of us are going to pick Gaethje. None of us. Everybody's going to pick Ilia Topuria. Even Trevor Whitman is going to pick Ilia Topuria. Even Trevor Whitman is going to be, hey, Trevor, who do you pick? Look, guys, I got to go with the facts here. I'm going to pick Ilia Topuria. But what I'm telling you is that still Gaethje's a very special guy, and still Gaethje he has no fear, and he's a warrior, and maybe he can pull out a miracle win. We're going to tune in for it. And if he could pull out a huge win, an upset win, it would be colossal and historic. An American Rocky Balboa story happening at the White House. It would be epic. Even though I don't think that's reality. I think, look, me personally, I think Rocky 4, Drago kills him in the ring, and Rocky, he died and he just dreamt he won. That's what I think happened in reality. I don't think he beats Drago. I don't think he beats Drago. I don't think he beats Ilia Topuria, if you get what I'm saying. But it's still more exciting, more interesting to me to see that fight. Okay, guys, because look, I think these guys are all great fighters, but Pereira has been nursed in a certain direction to fight strikers who can't take him down and punish him. Make no mistake about it. John Jones will crush his soul, and it won't take long. Okay, now listen, we might also get, and this would be great, actually. This would be great. Pereira, Gunn. That would be great. Now, if we got Gunn versus John Jones too, that would be a disaster. That would be a disaster. I can't imagine listening to you guys complain to me about how could they do rematches, because they did Volkanovski and they did Lopez, and everybody was complaining about it, rightfully so, guys. I was with you. I don't think they should have done that rematch, but whatever. If I have to hear 2 months of people belly aching about Pereira versus, John Jones versus Gunn for 2 months, the belly aching, the soreness, and then the fight happens the same as it did the first time around. Sorry, I misspoke. I meant, imagine they book John Jones and Gunn again, and John Jones just wipes the floor with him in one round again. Like the belly aching, the anger, the bitterness. I hope the UFC doesn't make this mistake. I hope they put Pereira Gunn. Pereira Gunn would be great. Why? We've never seen it before. I would pick Gunn in that instance, but at least it would be a firefight, something exciting to see. It's got to be special. The main event has got to be special. Okay, guys, with that said, those are my thoughts. My number one pick is Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria for the White House. I don't know if we get it, but I was happy to hear that Makhachev is up for it. Now I want to hear you guys. What do you think about the White House? Guys, I'm only talking about the White House main event. If you go on any other topic, I won't be responding. Trump won't allow 2 foreigners in the main event. He'll call ICE. That's from Larry Bird. That's very true, actually. Very possible. Makhachev, Topuria, both in the same ring. They might end up with ICE taking them out of the octagon. Ilya fight would be just as predictable versus Gaethje. That's from Sinopatha. I would tell you you're right. I would pick Topuria. We're all going to pick Topuria. Even Trevor Whitman will pick Topuria. I'm just saying that Gaethje's American, and he'd have more chance than Pereira versus Jones. Why? He's a much better wrestler than Pereira. Look, he could put up a fight, and maybe he could have a Cinderella comeback story ending. It's possible. Gaethje can do it. He's not as vulnerable as a Pereira versus Jones. He's not as vulnerable. He's a very dangerous guy. He hits hard. He's got a heart of a lion. He can wrestle. Still, I agree with you. Topuria will beat him. I'm not delusional. I don't have to do a pre-fight analysis breakdown. I don't have to go blow for blow, little details, and I don't have to do any of that. We all agree. Pereira will win 70-30. But John Jones versus Pereira, in my opinion, is a 95-5. You don't want to book a 95% victory rate for John Jones versus a 5% chance to win Pereira. That's just it's too lopsided. Coach, did you see the Arman brawl? Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Guys, now we're talking about the White House main event. It's going to be probably announced this week. Dana said he's going to announce it this week, and I'm hoping we hear the name Ilia Topuria. I'm hoping we hear the name Islam Makhachev. Gaethje can pull out a couple early miracle eye pokes that likely he did against Paddy, and he can win that way as well. That's from Kelvin. Kelvin, you know what? That's true. He did poke Paddy Pimblett's eye, and one of them was a really bad eye poke, and the referee didn't pick it up. Eye pokes, you know what? They make a massive difference. It's not crazy. It's not crazy that he eye pokes Ilia Topuria, blinds him. The referee doesn't see it because it's not impossible. But I don't think he's doing it on purpose. But he did eye poke Paddy really badly. Coach, my idea is Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria. That's correct, Tuxedo. I agree with you. That is the one thing that would put all eyes on the White House. We would all be watching. I would be like, I would be so excited. I don't know if I could sleep the night before. If they had Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria, I think look, if they do Ilya Topuria versus Makhachev, I'll do a 3-hour podcast the night before just ranting about it. How about that? Okay, guys, if they give us that fight, and I might be there, actually. I might have a fighter on that card. But let's say I'm not there and the stars align. I will commit to a 3-hour podcast just ranting and raving about how excited I am about this fight. That's how epic this fight would be. Ilya Topuria versus Islam Makhachev is the best main event, best fighter pound for pound. And I think Ilya is the only one who can finish him. That's from NX. NX, if there's one man that could step up and do it, it's Ilya Topuria. Now, I think there are guys at 170 that can give Makhachev a very hard time and maybe even beat him, okay? But of everybody in the welterweight division, I would pick Ilya Topuria to have a better chance. So if I had to pick one man from the lightweight and welterweight division together, if you gave me that as one division, told me pick the best guy, the guy who had the best chance to beat Islam Makhachev, I'll pick Ilya Topuria, even though he's a 55er. Coach, who wins, Makhachev or Topuria? That's from King Chris. King Chris, I would go with Makhachev. I think he wins. I think he wins that fight. It would be a very difficult fight. It wouldn't be easy. I think he squeezes out a third round. He wins that third round. He wins 3 out of 2, and it's just a tough fight. McGregor versus Chandler surprise announcement. Peter, if that happens, the White House card is dead to me. Like, I would be so disappointed. Who on earth would want to see that? I personally would not want to watch that. Like, I would tune in. I would be complaining, though. I wouldn't be a happy camper. Okay, that was not the fight I want to see. No, I'd rather see John Jones versus Alexander Pereira if I had the choice. Okay, if I had to choose, I would not want to see McGregor Chandler. No way. Or at the very least, an American headlining. That's from Peter. Peter, I get it. Some people want an all-American card. America versus the world. I think we gotta chill on that a little bit. You know, I don't think because you're American, you should get a front row seat at the White House card. I think we should try to leave nationality and politics out of it as much as possible. I understand it's the White House. I get it. There have been many, many, many great American champions. It so happens to be that the 2 pound for pound best right now are not American. So what? A sport has to transcend nationality, race, religion. Let's not make this about religion, politics. I hope there's no political talk. I think personally, it would be amazing if we can kind of like do the politics in the news in a professional setting. And MMA, we just kind of come together and enjoy the sport and kind of connect as people, as opposed to bringing the politics in with us. Because when we bring the politics in with us, and I know I'm very realistic about it. I don't think you could separate politics out of life. You can't. But you got to minimize it. Now, if you make it America against the world, oh man, it's going to politicize it so much. You're going to see so much more friction. You're going to see so much more negativity. It's not going to be fight hype. It's going to be like venom. You know, you don't want venom. Fight hype is okay. Venom, I think, should be avoided, and especially with what's going on in the world today, it's going to be a lot of venom. There's going to be a lot of like, you're flaring. Tempers are going to flare. Things can get very serious and escalate. You know, so we got to avoid all this. Keep it a sport, and we get to know each other as human beings through the sport. We get to appreciate each other a little bit more, and I think politics can really hamper that. Should Tom Aspinall be stripped? That's from X7. No, I think he should have a whole year at least to recover. A whole year. How many months has it been? I can't remember, but he should have a minimum of 1 year. And I believe actually that's the actual rule, if I remember correctly. Gaethje is American, coach. He will fight, unfortunately. That's from 33. I wouldn't say unfortunately, guys. I would be excited to hear Gaethje main event versus Topuria. I would be super excited. In turn, champ versus champ. I heard that Topuria now, you know, his case is done. You know, even when it's done, it's never truly done. But guys, I would tell you, I would love that fight. I wouldn't say no to that fight. I would much rather see that than John Jones just taking it a freebie. Okay. And who's John Jones? You know, if they put John Jones, there's only one name I would want to see John Jones fight, because there's literally nobody else for him to fight. Don't tell me Miocic, John Jones. That would break my heart. I think I'd rather see Chandler versus McGregor then John Jones fight Miocic again. Like, who else is he going to fight? Thomas Pimal is not available. Gunn, I think could do better than he did the first time, but maybe it's going to land an extra round. It's not going to be exciting. The only guy that I would want to hear John Jones fighting at the White House, the only one name, which I don't think will ever happen, is Ngannou. That's it. Now, he's got Saudi Arabia boxing money. I don't think he's going to come back unless it's a shiny, shiny, shiny silver coin. And that silver coin, if he gets paid that, everybody's going to be foaming at the mouth. I don't think the UFC gives it to him. This card is going to be already expensive enough. It's going to cost them more than ever to run a fight at the White House. Logistically speaking, it's very complicated. But that's the only name. If they told me John Jones and Ngannou, I'll be like, you know what? That's a great call. That's right under Topuria Makhachev. That's above Topuria Gaethje. So number one on the list, Makhachev, Topuria. That's number one. Number two, you want an American on card? Okay, fine. John Jones, bring in Ngannou. That's the only other fight that I would say. But then it's never going to happen. That's not going to happen. We're wasting our time talking about it. Coach, it's difficult to forget politics during these times in our history. That's from Montreal Fight Club. I totally agree with you. It's very difficult now, but we got to also make sure to try to keep a level head and don't let these politicians, poison us with their propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda out there. There's a lot of trash going on out there. So you got to be careful. You got to kind of remember, these are governments fighting. Human beings, we're all the same. We're very similar. We want to live a nice, peaceful life, and we want to go about our business. Do you think people out there are angry with us? They hate us because we eat hamburgers and this and that. That's all BS. That's all trash. That's all just propaganda. Why? Because they want you to support them. Because if they have the support of the people, the war goes on. If they don't have the support of the people, the war collapses. Okay, so I'll tell you something. Don't be a knucklehead. Don't fall for their propaganda. Try to always deflate the war balloon. Because what happens in war? Think about it. They went to Iraq. They went to Afghanistan. They had Desert Storm twice in my lifetime. Twice. What did it bring? 1 million dead Iraqis. A few politicians got crazy billionaire rich. They became crazy billionaire rich. America got indebted. There's bitterness all over the world against, the particular country with red, white, and blue. And there's angry sentiments that we know are going to bounce back years from now. We know that there's going to be a backlash years from now. Like, what was the purpose? What was the purpose of all this? What was the purpose? Well, it's just people getting rich. People getting rich, and they're using nations as pawns. John Jones can fight Alex Pereira. No, that's a really bad idea. I don't think you're paying attention. Somebody with severe ADD in the chat room. 50 million for Ngannou. That's from Rainbow. Rainbow, what do you think he gets paid for in Saudi Arabia? In Saudi Arabia boxing fight, he wouldn't be worth that anymore. He lost badly to Anthony Joshua, but he's not worth that anymore. But he banked in. I bet you he banked in a 40, 50 million. I can't remember the number. Actually, I remember they talked about it, but he made that 50 million. Guys, 50 million. Think about this. 50 million. I would fight any man on earth for $50 million. For sure he wants to make that 50 million. For sure. If they offered him 50 million for John Jones, UFC wouldn't. They wouldn't. But the Saudis were offering him that kind of money. Why do you think he wanted to come out of his contract in UFC? Saudis are paying a crazy amount of money. Now, look, Anthony Joshua probably made 50 million. And Ngannou, I would tell you, probably made 30. I can't remember what it was, but he made a lot of money. And don't forget, he fought Tyson Fury as well. So together, put those two fights together, he made an easy 50 million. Now think about what $50 million means. How much money you make on $50 million. So that's the only guy I would be excited to see fight John Jones. Coach, if Ngannou did fight John Jones, who do you think would win? That's from Isa. Isa, I would tell you, John Jones beats him. He's going to shoot really low. Look, John Jones is going to attack his knees. Guys, if you don't know, Ngannou's got bad knees. Okay, he's got bad knees. He's going to oblique kick the knees. If Ngannou comes to punch him, he's going to elbow and he's going to wrestle and he's going to shoot. And if he gets Ngannou down on the ground, it's not going to be easy because Ngannou is big and strong, but he's going to school Ngannou. Ngannou's like a really good blue belt on the ground. He's not better than that. John's been grappling and wrestling since he's a kid, okay? He's levels above on the ground. Like when he took down Gunn, look what he did to Gunn, okay? Look what he did to Gunn. I was telling you guys that. Listen to my pre-fight analysis, okay? I'm telling you, if it goes on the ground, which I think it will, they're blue belts. Those heavyweights are blue belts. They're just glorified blue belts because there's nobody their size in the practice room, right? So in the practice room, they could be blue belts and they're the hardest guys to fight, okay? So don't Don't think he's on the same level as John. He absolutely isn't. Guys, I released also side-to-side passing, Advanced Basics, Volume 31. Guys, the most popular series I've ever come through. Advanced Basics, side-to-side passing. Check it out. Make sure to use promo code. 50 off. Okay, get 50 off. It's at the... Hold on, let me put it up on the screen because I know you guys are bad with promo codes, always writing me emails, writing my staff emails. Oh, I forgot to put in the promo code. Guys, if you forget to put in the promo code, too bad. Okay, it's there on your screen. Get 50 off. Get 50% off. It's on the website. Like, I don't understand how you guys can miss it. It's impossible. I made it so simple. Get 50 off. You get 50% off. Okay, so please use the promo code. I know if you know what, I think sometimes guys don't use the promo code because they want to like send coach. They want to pay a little more to Juji Club. They appreciate Juji Club. For those guys, thank you. I appreciate it. But for the guys who write emails after saying, I forgot to put in the code, it's done. You know, we grandfathered that because you guys are driving the staff crazy. You're driving poor Noor in the background, writing emails, talking to you. Like, he's fed up. Okay, so I told him, you know what? From now on, we don't do that no more. They miss it. Okay, so guys, please, I put the promo code on the bottom. Promo code, get 50 off. Okay, guys, where are we at now? We're talking about the main event of the White House. There's only a few that are super worthy. And I hope, and I love Alex Pereira, but I hope we don't get John Jones, Alex Pereira. Why? You guys are going to be so upset after the fight. Because everybody's going to predict John takes him down and finishes him. And that's just going to happen. And everybody's going to be furious with the card. Afternoon, coach. Do you think fans are expecting a KO win from Alex against John Jones? I got John and agree about his wrestling skills. It's high level, just like someone you know in 185. That's from Shiz, my boy. Of course, Shiz. Khamzat Shamayev should fight. Let me tell you something. If they're gonna, instead of putting John Jones, take Khamzat Shamayev, 205 title. But now you know they're offering it to Jiri, but that could have been great too. Shamayev goes for the next title, 205, fights Alexander Pereira. That could have been very interesting. Now again, we'd all be picking Shamayev. Now, would they let Shamayev in the White House? I don't think so. Would it cause controversy that he's a Chechen? Yes. Does he have a friend that's, I'm not even going to say his name on the podcast, that's wanted internationally, that's not very popular internationally? Yes. Would that create so much friction for the White House? Yes. Would they ever allow him to get in to fight because of that? Never. They will never allow him in the White House. Guys, I guarantee you we're not getting anything to do with Shamayev on that card. Nothing. Let's just say he has friends in high places that the media would eat up. They would eat it up. Okay, so the guy can barely get in the country. Okay, now he does get in the country. Okay, he fought in Chicago when he fought DDP. He fought him in Chicago. Okay, but he's not getting in the White House. Like, I would be shocked if they let him anywhere near the White House. Okay, because he has a bearded friend. Let's just call it. He has a bearded friend, and we shouldn't talk about him. We had here half butterfly and mat return instructional. That's from Ponder Lust. That's gonna be a while because I'm not really a half butterfly type of guy. You know, if I do another butterfly guard video, I will definitely touch into butterfly, because in my half guard video we talk about half butterfly. But to make a video just on half butterfly, it's not really. I'm not such a lover of half butterfly. I love butterfly guard, but half butterfly I think is not as good. But again, guys, I don't want to change subject. Let's just stay on the subject for now. Any thoughts on veganism or vegetarianism? No meat or fish, but eggs and milk. That's from Waterloo. I'm going to answer stuff like that later. Now we're talking about the White House main event. We're only 24 minutes in, guys, but I'm going to wrap it up if I'm not getting any more White House main event questions or comments. Who's more likely to become a three-weight world champion, Alex Pereira or Khamzat Makhachev? That's from Tryhard. I think Pereira, because they're lobbying him. They're going to try to set him up for a win at heavyweight. They would love to have him as heavyweight champion. They would love it. Why? He's like a guaranteed knockout, this guy. If you can give him the right opponent, he's a guaranteed knockout. Look, if he fights Gan, I'm not thinking he beats Gan. But if they can have their way and set him up, just a heavyweight division, man. They need to shake it up. And everybody knows it. They need to shake it up. They need to make a legitimate win for Pereira that they can prop up Pereira as a heavyweight champion and revive the division. Is it possible? I'm saying yes. Is it likely? I don't think so. Shamayev ducks Strickland. In what universe? 33 Larry Bird is having... Guys, somebody please send Larry Bird, 33 Larry Bird, some help because he's having the delusions. There is no way in hell Shamayev would duck Strickland. No way in hell. What about Kane versus Stipe on the White House card? That's from Uncle Voltron. Uncle Voltron, well, you know, if Kane was in tip-top shape, the man just came out of prison. And again, that would eat up the press line. So I don't think they're going to put Cain Velasquez. I don't think he has the time to get in shape. I don't think he has the time to go back into training and all that. Versus Stipe. Stipe got washed by John Jones. Like, why would you want to see Stipe? Why? Like, don't get me wrong. Stipe was great once upon a time, but he's not great no more. We saw him fight John Jones, and he could barely do anything. He could just hang and fight for survival. That's all he could do. Coach, have you realized that every fight that Pratas is in, he usually losing, then he just, boom, sleeps them out cold. But I think Jack is too good for that. So that's from Mahab. Mahab, let me tell you something. That's another fight I'm super excited about. Finally, the UFC booked a fight that I'm super, ultra excited about. I believe that fight's in May. JDM is back, baby. He's back, and he's fighting Pratas. Guys, you don't know. I'm really excited about that fight. I tell you guys when I'm excited about a fight, when I'm not. Maybe the casuals won't, that's not a head turner for the casuals. But for me, that's a fight I'm going to be watching closely. Those are two very dangerous individuals. And I really want to see how JDM is going to try to bounce back from his loss. He had a very bad loss, okay? We all saw it. We all heard it. We all talked about it nonstop. How is he going to bounce back from the Makhachev loss? How? He's fighting a very different opponent, a guy who's dangerous, could sleep anybody. You're right. And DDP's, I don't think he's ever been knocked out. I don't think he's ever been knocked out in his career. So I'm probably going to do a pre-fight analysis. I'm going to go back and watch their tape and do a pre-fight analysis. But I'm a big JDM fan. And I've also been in contact with his coaches. I used to train, I used to work with Jack Becker. He's one of the coaching staff, and he trained with me for quite a while, actually, quite an extended while. And now he's back home training with JDM. And I've been talking to his coach, also his other coaches. Like, they're great guys, and I wish them the best. But this fight is a tough fight. It's a tough comeback fight. This is no easy comeback fight, and UFC doesn't give you good easy fights. It doesn't give you setup fights, warm up fights. You know, like, no, this is a hard fight. He's going right back in the fire, and if he has a big win, he could be in the next title shot. The next fight could be a title shot. Coach, do you think UFC will have a White House equivalent card in Royal Palace in Riyadh for Riyadh season? That's from Rainbow. Rainbow, I would tell you, yeah, probably. It could happen. It could happen, man. I'm telling you, the Saudis, they love a good fight, man. They love a good main event, exciting event, some kind of sporting event. Look what they do with soccer, boxing. They'll do that with UFC. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. I've been to a Saudi fight, UFC fight in Saudi. And let me tell you something. It was very well received, very well. The people were very excited. The people were really into the athletes, everything, talking in the media. They were talking about the athletes. It was all over TV, news. They're huge in sports. Everything. Formula One, horseback riding, soccer. I mean, they're just crazy about sports. And MMA is growing fast. It's growing fast in Saudi Arabia. Gilbert almost KO'd Khamzat at lightweight. That's from Larry Bird. Yeah, but that was a different Khamzat. He was making 170. And look, don't get me wrong. Gilbert gave him the hardest fight. Him and Usman. Gilbert and Usman gave him the hardest fight. Khamzat had the hardest fight. His two hardest fights. One of them, you have to say, it's either Gilbert or Usman. And they were very tough fights, both of them. But Gilbert hasn't shown the same dominance since, or ability since. And Shamayev has exploded in skill and abilities, exploded in performance. He was doing amazing. It was almost like a little bump, okay? Because you can't compare the two. You just can't compare these two guys. They're not in the same universe. If they had a rematch, let's say pound for pound or whatnot, Shamayev would probably steamroll him, okay? And I say that I've trained with Gilbert. I love Gilbert. He's a great guy and all that, but he's past his time now. Now it's Shamayev's time. Gilbert's going to struggle to get a win or two here. It's going to be difficult. Now he's fighting Mike Malott. That's going to be a very difficult fight for him. Very difficult. I'm picking Mike Malott from now, guys. I'm telling you, it's a very hard fight for him. How does he get past Mike Malott? I don't know. But does he have a chance to fight a Chimaev? Suppose we went back and we were able to fit Chimaev pound for pound, the same weight class as Gilbert Burns. Chimaev is in a different place right now. It wouldn't be the same fight over again. Guys, don't forget, how many times have we seen a rematch? The first one, it's really close. The second one, it's a blowout. Just because you fought a guy once and you're really kind of close doesn't mean next year he's still at the same level as you. He might have fallen behind. You might have sped up. You might have figured things out in your game. And I think what was holding Chimaev back the most was the weight cut. The weight cut just weakened him. Look at how much more. I mean, I hate to say DDP was a good fight to demonstrate his cardio because the guy was in good positions the whole time. But I just have a feeling that it was a step in the right direction. We all remember how he missed weight and all that crazy fiasco, which I don't want to circle back to. MMA Joey. I crashed his live last time. Now he's crashing me back. I love that, Joey. But we got to do a collab. Joey. I like to listen to your channel, man. Your channel's cool. I like it, man. Guys, shout out to MMA Joey. Make sure. I hope this is the real MMA Joey. I don't see a check mark here, but I'm hoping that it's really him. I'm going to put him as moderator. Boom. Guys, MMA Joey's moderating now, okay? MMA Joey, feel free to kick out on any of these troublemakers, okay? I want you to rule the chat with an iron fist. Guys, MMA Joey, make sure to check out his channel. He does a great work. He's a fun guy, and one day, hopefully, we're going to get it together, and we're going to podcast together for fun. Do you think the White House is card? Do you think the White House is card? No, I don't think the White House is a card. No. Do you think the White House card is going to be heavily American? Question mark. Maybe it will be a lot of star power instead. That's from Uncle Voltron. Yeah, I think probably Trump, I have a feeling that Trump is going to be like, well, I want the White House card to have patriots. Because, of course, he's thinking about like influencing his politics, right? So if he has a bunch of Mexicans fighting and a bunch of black guys and a bunch of Arab guys fighting it, he's not going to be able to boast about it so much, So I think he's going to try to push that. But the thing is, he doesn't understand the division. He doesn't understand the dynamics going on in the division. He doesn't understand that people will be really upset if the fight is not hypeable. If the fight is like predictable, if the fight is boring, if we assume the outcome of the fight and that's what we get, everybody's disappointed. People always love a fight where you look in the red corner and you're like, that guy's unbeatable. And then you look in the blue corner and you're like, wait a second, that guy's also unbeatable. And they're about to fight and you're like, I don't know who's going to win. That's the best fight. That's the best fight. When all the experts don't know what to tell you. They're all like, this could go either way. Those are the most exciting, most anticipated fights. Now, if we get a John Jones versus Pereira, everybody's going to be like, well, John Jones is going to take him down and sub him. John Jones is going to take him down and ground upon him. And then we get that. Everybody the next day is bellyaching. Everybody the next day is saying this was a money grab. This was just a propaganda tour. The venom just spews out of people's mouths. So it's just negative for the sport. It's negative for the fans. It doesn't make anybody happy. But do you think a Donald Trump would understand all that? No. He's going to be like, hey, make it American. This is my White House. It's probably, by his permission. He could cancel the thing at a whim, okay? He's buddies with Dana White. He probably said, hey, make me a card. And he wants to put the red, white, and blue in the center stage, and he wants to make America look great and America proud of itself, etc. And he's going to want what he wants. And so I'm sure the UFC is trying to navigate that, but it's probably very difficult because the fighters they have and the way the division is structured doesn't really necessarily allow that. That's why Gaethje might play a massive role. And I hope we don't get McGregor Chandler, but you'd have an American in Chandler, but he's going to get probably crushed by a McGregor. But actually, you don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, look, McGregor in his prime time destroys Chandler, destroys him. But now, like, is McGregor training? Is his mind where it should be? Like, is the guy, I don't know anything of what's going on in his life, But does he take Chandler seriously enough? Like, I don't think McGregor is going to step back in the octagon. I don't think ever. I hate to say it, but never, okay? So I don't even want to waste time talking about that fight. But if they need an American, who's the American to take the spotlight? Who? You're not going to bring in Colby Covington. He's going to get crushed. Who are you going to put Colby Covington against? Like, who? His last fight, if I remember correctly, it was What's his name? Forgetting his name. And he just got crushed, man. He got mauled. He looked horrible. He looked worse than an unk. He looked worse. Okay, so in my opinion, who's the American? Guys, give me that in chat. Who's the American that can step into the spotlight other than Justin Gaethje? There's nobody. There's John Jones, but you don't got an opponent for John Jones unless you're ready to put Ngannou. That would be, I mean, if Donald Trump really wanted an American to shine, he'd need John Jones fighting Ngannou. But then he needs to come up with Saudi money, man. They don't have this. They're not going to put up Saudi money. Do you think UFC will put women fights on the White House card? That's from 1996. I bet you they're going to demand it. The White House is going to want at least one woman fight. At least. There's no way it's all men fights. Why? Politics, guys. Politics. You got to remember, they're probably only going to do like 7 to 10 fights. They're not going to do a massive card. That's what they said. They're not going to do a full card. It's not going to be 17 fights, 15 fights, 14 fights. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like 7, 10 fights max. You got to have women in there. Why? Because reporters are going to be asking questions. How come there's no women? What is it? We become this misogynistic state all of a sudden? They got to have everything. They got to have everything. They got to have a Mexican guy. They got to have a black guy. They got to have one Arabic guy maybe on the undercard. And they're going to have a white American guy. They're going to have everything. And you're going to have also a woman. Don't forget politics, guys. Whatever they do, they're going to be scrutinized. They're going to be criticized. And the UFC has to navigate that. O'Malley is a great name. He would be a great American name to be on the card. However, is he main event material, guys? I'm talking about main event. Who's the main event American? Who's the main event American? Because who's Sean O'Malley going to fight in the main event? Who? You're not going to put him against Peter Yan, are you? You're going to get a Russian guy to come and put a shellacking on an American guy at the White House? Are you insane? Are you thinking correctly now? Are you thinking correctly? No, that's a disaster. That's a disaster. Imagine Putin. What Putin's going to say to the media if a Russian guy is beating the hell out of an American guy in the White House. And don't forget, there's a controversial win he has over Yan. You think they're not going to relive that? Guys, you got to think more sensibly. O'Malley versus Sanhagen. That could be good, but it's not. It's a great main event, but not a White House main event. We need somebody with a title. We need somebody who's a championship. He's a contender or he's a champion. We need something bigger than that. Like, I love Sanhagen and I love O'Malley. They're great. And I'm sure they're going to get back to the title and they're going to fight their way back. And they're great guys and they're superstars. Yes. But they're not White House main event title holders or title contender yet. They both came off a loss, to the champs. So okay. O'Malley just had a win against Sung Yadong, but he lost twice in a row to the former champ. So it's not White House main event. You guys are thinking pay-per-view main event? Sure. You're thinking about fight night main event? Sure. Those guys qualify. We're talking about a pay-per-view extravaganza type fight. I know it's Paramount, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's a money fight. The big fight everybody wants to see. There's got to be gold on the line. There has to be gold. Which American can fight for gold and be the main event? There's only 2 names. Gaethje and Jones. Putin versus Trump, White House final. Guys, that would be the best fight. And Putin would crush him. Guys, I hate to tell you, Putin's a judo black belt. He would crush Trump. Trump is pushing 80, guys. He's going to be 80. He's going to be 80 years old. You think he can? Guys, that would be a round 1 destruction. Putin would get his hands on him, flip him, drop him, break his knee on the way down. Trump would be in agony. Trump has never been physically manhandled in his life, man. Trump has never probably made a fist in his life. I bet you his hand doesn't go like this. He talks tough, but he's never been. He's never been on the mat. He's never boxed. He's never done any of that. And I'll tell you something. Putin's done it all. Okay, don't forget Putin's KGB. Okay, he's a tough guy. Okay, he's been trained thoroughly. Mighty Mouse returns, guys. Chris, I would love that, but Mighty Mouse is not gonna be. Don't forget, in America they love the heavier weight classes. They don't like the lower weight classes, statistically speaking, like numbers wise. In Asia, they love the smaller fighters. Absolutely. In America, guys, you gotta have 145 and up. 145 and up. It's not easy to sell the lower weight classes. Let's Strickland and Kobe fight Khamzat back to back at the White House. That's from MMA Joey. MMA Joey, I would love that, man. That would be really, really cool. However, they would both get a beating. You know that, and I know that. And then America would look really bad that night. Why? Because Kobe Covington would get smashed, destroyed. He would get submitted. Then Strickland, I think he gets subbed in 1 round too. So, I mean, it would just be a humiliation. I know you're joking, but I'm taking it seriously. Could you imagine the humiliation? Oh, my goodness. Trump did actually play football, apparently. Surprised when I saw that. That's from Chris. Chris, I don't see him playing football. He was playing football? Nah, I don't see him. Maybe he was at a private school where they kind of play flag football and everybody's has a towel boy and everybody has like a caddy with them and to like hype them up and tell them how great they are. I don't see Donald Trump tackling or being tackled. I just don't see it. Coach, what are your thoughts on the RAF brawl yesterday? That's from Methane. Methane, not to get too sidetracked, but I thought, look, personally, I think Arman took it too far. Like, I get it. The Pulas guy he was too rough. He was slapping. He was like the pushing. That's wrestling, guys. But he was even doing it. There's like a code. Look, guys, I've freestyle wrestled as well. You don't smack a guy like that. And I've seen fights break out like this before. You know, they're hand fighting and one guy hits the other and then all of a sudden they start brawling and the referees and everybody has to jump in. I've seen it before, okay? Usually the referee is supposed to control that really quick, like right away. And I felt the referee was really professional. You could tell he's a world-class referee. However, I didn't think he gave Pulis enough of a warning. He should have scolded Pulis because he was smacking at one point Arman. Now, if I was in Arman's shoes, would I have punched him? No, I would have pushed him down. I would have smacked him at the end. Yeah, maybe. Because I'll tell you guys something. I know a lot of you guys, you don't like it when I say this. Okay? Because I remember when Raja Jackson flipped out and beat up that wrestler. I said, look, I don't agree with what he did. He's completely in the wrong. He deserves jail time. Okay? I was like, this guy's like crazy. But also, be fair, the guy shouldn't have hit him in the head with a can. Okay, not that I want to revisit this story, okay, but Raja Jackson goes to a professional wrestling show and the guy, a professional wrestler, smashes a can in his head. Now, a lot of you are like, it's a prop can, this and that. No, it's a real aluminum can. Guys, by the way, I brought the guy who rescued the victim, Psycho Stu. I brought him on my channel. I did an interview with him. I got the facts, okay? We connected online, on social media, and we talked. We had a podcast. Maybe you guys saw it, maybe you didn't. But the guy told me, no, it was a real can. And in our industry, because I asked him, I said, in our industry, somebody smacks you, you smack him back. He's like, yeah, us too. Same thing. It's just the way wrestling, the culture is. If somebody pushes you, you push them back. If somebody slaps you, you slap them back. Because if you don't, everybody's going to smack you around. Okay? So, look, guys, I know a lot of you don't like that. You're going to be like, oh, coach, you're a little bit too aggressive. No. I'll tell you something. In the practice room, somebody smacks you, you tell them, hey, man, you mind? Like, be careful. I always tell my students, oh, you clawed me, be careful. I talk to them nicely. Practice room is different. Competition day, you tell the guy, hey, man, watch out. You're smacking me. You're not waiting for the referee to defend you because sometimes the referee doesn't care. He smacks you, you warn him. He smacks you again, you smack him back. I think Arman was in the right to smack him back. But the punch and the knee that he threw, and a lot of you might not have seen the knee, but he snuck in also a knee. I think that's escalating too far. I wouldn't have done it. I think eye for an eye is fine. It has to be proportionate. When you fight each other, you have to be proportionate. Pulis didn't punch Arman. Arman escalated. He's an escalator. And then he threw a knee. And I think he was frustrated because he got taken down and he was frustrated. And look, he did get smacked. I don't like the smacking that Pulis was doing. I don't like it. It's like borderline gray area. Eesh. So was Arman justified? I would say he would be justified if he slapped him back. By punching him and kneeing him, I think it was too much. I wouldn't have done that. Look at the melee it brought out. Look at the melee. Like, people get really hurt, so I didn't think it was right. But did Pulis deserve a slap? Yeah, I would have slapped him. Because that's what he did, right? He got slapped and he slapped Pulis back. I think that was fine. I was fine with me. The referee should blow the whistle, warn them both. No more smacking. Because hand fighting is one thing. Snap downs are one thing, but smack to the head is another. And Pulis smacked him. Bryce Mitchell versus Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's from Vindrick. Vindrick, I'm going to pin that one. Guys, that is a good one. Bryce Mitchell, Neil deGrasse Tyson, science debate at the White House. No fighting. No fight. I would rather see that than Ilya Topuria versus Makhachev. We get 2 podiums. We get Bryce Mitchell on one side, Neil deGrasse Tyson on the other. They both have a projector. They both get opening statements. They both do a debate, and they both bring their evidences. And that would be an epic night of education. Forget fighting, guys, tonight. Put your gloves off. We're going to have Neil deGrasse Tyson versus Bryce Mitchell. That, my friends, that is the true main event. We will link up soon and talk MMA on my channel. Look forward to it. Yes, sir, MMA Joey. Hit my guys up on the Instagram, and I'll make sure I'll tell them to follow you back. And let's connect, because we got to do a fun episode. It will be fun. Something, maybe once we get the White House main event card, the main event, once we get that fight, let's maybe set something up. Tips in educating / training my 1-year-old son. That's from Ponder. Ponder, he's 1 year old, man. Just do the big blocks, colors, finger painting, toys, games, lots of talking, verbalize a lot to him. Every time you're communicating with him, try to use actual words. Don't just do goo goo gaga, actually teach him words, because the more words they hear, the higher their IQ. Expose him to different languages at an early age, like make him watch shows in Spanish, French, Russian, Japanese, Chinese, like really expose him to as many words as possible. It raises IQ. Jake Shields versus Patrick Bet David. Let's go. That's Slim. That I would love to see. I would love to see Patrick Bet David get a beating. He deserves a beating. Patrick Bet David is, in my opinion, like a slime ball. He's like one of those guys who'll do anything for money. Anything for money, he's there. All right, guys. I think we're ready to put to bed the White House main event, and let's open it up to Ask Me Anything. It's already 47 minutes. Guys, we did 47 minutes on the kickoff topic. Guys, don't forget, check out Apex Meditation. This episode is brought to you by Apex Meditation. Thank you very much, guys, for Apex Meditation. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, guys. Just check it out. There's a free trial, and then decide if you like it or not. I think the conversion rate is huge. Everybody's been accepting. Everybody who tests it out loves it and gets it. Okay, it's a phenomenal app. I'm not going to say anymore. I trained MMA and BJJ for 6-7 years, almost 40% purple belt due to gym options and costs. I can only train BJJ now. I'm training for life, not competition. I have a heavy bag at home. Is just BJJ enough? Okay, let me read that again. Okay, I trained MMA and BJJ for 6 to 7 years, almost 40. Okay, almost 40. And purple belt. Okay, that's really good, man. Congratulations. You got your purple belt. That's amazing. And due to gym options and costs, I can only train BJJ now. I'm training for life, not competition. I have a heavy bag at home. Is just BJJ enough? Okay, so you're doing BJJ at the gym, but you cannot afford also striking classes, etc. You have a heavy bag at home. You have a place to shadow box. Now all you need is some good instructionals and work the material at home. Now the last thing you're missing is you need some sparring. Okay, so I would tell you, find somebody who's an enthusiast like you, and do touch sparring only, especially if you don't have supervision. Okay, so it's only touch sparring. You guys kind of like hang out, train together, lead up to some sparring, but it has to be touch sparring, controlled sparring. One day I'm going to do a video on how to run a touch sparring class, because I find like every time I go into a gym and it's a striking gym, I see guys getting their brains scrambled, and I'm like, this is not the correct way to do things. This is really not the correct way to do things, because touch sparring should be 0 injuries in the practice room. 0. Like when I tell you 0, 1 is too much. 1 injury out of 100 days, that's way too much. What happened? This is not possible in touch sparring class. Okay. So we have touch sparring at TriStar Gym. Just tell you how we operate. We have touch sparring 4 days a week. That's how we teach the beginners to learn how to go to advanced sparring and then possibly professional sparring. We have professional sparring days. So it's with invitation only. Okay. So you have to be somebody with experience. But I've seen too many people scramble their brains in practice, like in other gyms, not in my gym. My gym, I don't tolerate this, okay? And I'm like, they're never going to get, well, it's not that they're not going to get good like this. One of them is not going to survive, and the other guy's going to move on. He's going to have a good career, but both of them could have been really good, okay? So I would tell you, if you have a heavy bag and you have a routine that you're getting constant access to new information and you're trying new things, you still need to develop your style, not your level, your style, and you can only do that with touch sparring or graduating to other heavier, more advanced sparrings. Okay, but you got to start with touch sparring. Now, maybe you've been sparring for years and you could just pay a day pass and go into a gym where you spar on a regular basis. Maybe once every 2 weeks, once every month. Now, you're saying you don't want to be a competitor. I get that. But you should still be able to spar. Why? If a self-defense situation ever came about, you wouldn't believe you can defend yourself. You'll know you can defend yourself. Okay? Let me say that again real slow. Okay? If I'm hitting the bag and I'm doing all sorts of technique, let me tell you something. You're already ahead of 80% of the people in the world. You could defend yourself 80%. I want you to be able to protect yourself against 99.9%. Okay? Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm a little bit too extreme, but me, I don't know how people walk around feeling okay when they don't know how to defend themselves. Like I meet guys, because you have to understand, all the men I'm surrounded, all my friends are all like, the people I spend my days with are all like crazy high-level martial artists. And then, of course, I have other friends, and sometimes, I'm not my MMA circles, and I'm hanging out with other buddies, and these guys have zero martial arts training, zero. But I don't know how they feel comfortable in their skin. Now, for me, 80% is not good enough. For me, it's not good enough. Like if you tell me, hey, this plane works 80% of the time, I'm not getting in it. I want something 99.999% solid. And you can only get to that level of confidence and ability. You have to do sparring. So you can do so much by yourself, but you need eventually a sparring partner. My recommendation, go to a gym that's sensible and pay a drop-in fee and try to get some rounds in here and there. Neil deGrasse will duck. Neil deGrasse Tyson will duck Larry. I'm sure he would duck Bryce Mitchell. I would duck Bryce Mitchell. Don't forget his major amazing proofs of why the world is flat. Incredible. Watch Ilya fight on UFC Fight Pass and has spooky KO power, but he loves to mix it with wrestling. If he needs to, will his power transfer successfully to welterweight? Imagine if he fails to KO Panic. Damn thoughts. That's from Shiz. Will his KO power transfer to 170? I would tell you, if anybody can transfer their power to 170, it's Ilia Topuria. Like his power is so... Name me somebody in MMA who has more power than Ilia Topuria. I would say Ngannou. I would say Pfeiffer. Who else has that one-touch power? Okay, Alexander Pereira, that left hook, only in his left hand. Only in his left hand. Topuria has power in both hands. Guys, pound for pound, I would tell you Topuria hits harder. He's more dangerous. We've seen Pereira crush men with his left hook, yes, but he doesn't have the right hand. He doesn't have dynamite in both. He has incredible power in both hands, yes, but the one hand is the touch of death. Ilya has touch of death in both hands. Even McGregor only had the touch of death in one hand. I don't recall ever McGregor hurting anybody with his right hand. It was always the left. Topuria is different, man. He could put you to sleep with his hook. He could put you to sleep with his overhand. And he can hurt you with his jab. It's just a different animal we're dealing with here. So if anybody can transfer his power one weight class up, I would say it's Topuria. Coach, can I get that exact sweater you're wearing? I want it. That's from Pogue. Pogue, let me tell you something. This is a Reebok UFC sweater. Do you remember the Reebok debacle? Okay. Do you remember the crazy Reebok debacle when they came in and they took over? For those of you who don't remember, before Venom, there was Reebok. Before Reebok, you could wear whatever you want. UFC, we used to always get sponsored. We used to, like, you're fighting UFC? Yeah. Wear my shirt, man. I'll pay you. Okay, great. I'll wear your brand. And I go walk out to the octagon in your brand. So we didn't have uniforms. And then Reebok came in. And everybody hated on them, but they gave us a bunch of clothes. They sponsored me. They sponsored my gym. They really wanted to try to make amends. They were trying to like put money back in the fighters' pockets, and they gave me so much clothes, guys. I can tell you how many clothes they gave me. Like I'm good for a decade or two. Like I have so much clothes. My wife freaks out. I have so many sweaters. I have hundreds of sweaters. Every time I go to UFC, I get a new sweater. Guys, you know how many sweaters I have of fighters' names on them? Like I'm going to UFC next week. I have another fight, and we're in Vegas. I'm getting another fight kit. Sometimes I have 2 fighters on a card. 2 fight kits. Sometimes I have 3 fighters on a card. 3 fight kits. Every other month, I'm getting a fight kit. And they give me a pair of shoes. Every time I go to UFC, they give me a brand new pair of shoes. You know how many pairs of shoes I have? You know how many pairs of shoes? I literally, because the thing is, I'm not allowed to... Here's the weird thing, okay? is like, I have the pair of shoes you gave me last week. So I have, let's say I was at UFC card a month ago. Now I'm going this next week. They're going to give me the same pair of shoes they gave me last month, probably. Okay. Now, sometimes they give me the same pair of shoes again. So I got them on my feet already. As I'm at the show, I already have them on my feet. They give you a fight kit with another pair of shoes that's identical. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wear the ones I'm wearing on my feet. As I'm walking out to the fight, they're like, hey, no, wait a second. Are those the shoes we gave you? Like, no. I'm like, no, those are, because I have the same pair of shoes. These are brand new. They're like, no, we want you to wear the ones we gave you. But like, okay, this ones are 2 weeks old. They're brand new. No, could you put on the ones we gave you? Okay, no problem, guys. I mean, you're the boss. So I just switched my shoes. But they really want you to wear, now they're less strict with it, but when the Reebok was there, it was like, you got to wear the exact shoes we gave you that day. No modification, but they're literally identical shoes. Please wear the new ones. Okay, no problem. Now here's the thing. I have to get in my size. So I have to find somebody who wears my size when I get home, and I give them my shoes. Like I give the clothes. I get a free gym bag every single fight. And I have unlimited, like I give them away. I give away the stuff. And oftentimes I don't even bring it back. I find somebody that, like a family member of the fighter, and I give them some items and stuff like that. I get so many hats, UFC hats all the time. They give me 2 UFC hats. Every show I get 2 UFC hats. It's crazy. I've gotten so many UFC hats. Of course, those I give away and all that. But this sweater must be like, I don't know, like 8 years old. But I have so many sweaters. I just have this huge rotation. It's crazy. But I don't wear the official fight sweaters. Those, I collect them and I stack them, and I have like dozens. And I don't want to wear and tear them, so I keep those. One day, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I'm going to hang them up in the gym, put them in like a nice memorabilia type. But I have like the same fighter over and over again. Like, my brother fights. He has 10 fights in UFC. I have like 10 hoodies of Zahabi, But of course, I've given some away. But what to do with them, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. Do you agree with Dana White when he says Ngannou's a scumbag? That's from El Chapo. El Chapo, I'll tell you something. I've met Ngannou. I've hung out with him like a few minutes at the gym talking to him. I saw him 10 days out from his Ngannou fight. I saw Ngannou 10 days out from his Gane fight. He's fighting Gane. And I was at the PI, and I was like, I'm not going to bother him. Like, the whole world must be talking to him about his fight, right? He's at the PI. He was nursing his injury. He had a knee sprain. And I wasn't going to bother the guy. Like, when I see these guys, superstars, like whoever I'm with, that's who I'm working with. I don't bother these guys because I know on fight week they're getting bombarded, or 10 days out. It's not even fight week, but he's really close to the fight. Crazy enough, he comes up to me. He's like, hey, coach, how are you? We start chit-chatting. I was like, hey, how are you, Francis? How are you? And he was talking to me, and we're just hanging out. He was telling me about his injury. I didn't mention it to anybody, but I was like, are you sure you should be telling anybody about this? He was like giving me details, and he's like, he was telling me he's not going to train at all until the fight. So he's just going to let it rest as best he can. He's not going to move around. He doesn't have and he's not going to do any wrestling drills, nothing. He's not going to hit pads. He's going to let it rest, and he's going to walk in that octagon, and he's going to do what he's got to do. And I was like, oh, man, that makes sense, man, if you feel like that's what's best for your knee. And he was such a sweet gentleman, friendly, kind, polite. Now, of course, when he's in the cage, he's an animal. But that's the best kind of martial arts. That's the kind of like fighter I love. You lock the cage, the guy's an animal. Outside the cage, he's a gentleman and a scholar. I love this. Ngannou, from what I saw, he was very friendly, kind. The fact that he came to me to say hello, like, I found that so polite and friendly. And like, just for me, he's a gentleman, Now, when it comes to business, I have no idea. But the thing is also, I'll tell you the same thing about Dana White. Dana White, we were at a fight event once. I was in a restaurant, the same restaurant as the hotel the fighters were in. Like, actually, no, this is not a fighter hotel. We're in a really nice hotel in the UAE. And we're in the proximity of the event. And Dana happened to be in the same restaurant as me. And of course, I'm not going to bother the big boss. He's he's sitting with important people. He came up to my table to say hello. He came up to my wife to say hello and say hello to my friends that I was with. And I was like, wow, he's a gentleman. Like, he took the time to walk over and say hello, because he's Dana White. You're going to go bother the guy? No, you're not going to go bother the guy. The guy's busy, right? It's fight week. No, he's a gentleman. He took a few minutes to come say hello, chit-chat a little bit. For me, that's how I know them. I only know the good part of them. I never had a negative experience with Dana White. I've never had a negative experience with Ngannou. And look, I've had much more interactions with Dana White, but I've never had a single negative experience with Dana White. Never. Not one time. And I've interacted with him. I've had even a dinner with him once. We're negotiating whatever, some fight for George once upon a time. Never once has he said anything that I found was out of line. Now, I know he's wild and crazy. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff about him, but behind closed doors with us, he's always been nothing but a gentleman. Incredible. Hey, Coach, where did you get... Oh, no, I did that one. Okay, here we go. Hey, for us, sorry to repeat the question, but what are your thoughts on veganism and vegetarianism, especially in an athletic context? That's from Waterloo Finest. Waterloo, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm happy you re-asked that question because I hate to forget questions. Okay, and I know you asked that earlier. Guys, what about veganism? Look, I'm not a nutritionist, okay, but I'll tell you something. If you just eat plant foods, you better know what you're doing. You have to get really educated. You have to have a plan. It's possible to be healthy on a vegan diet. I believe it, yeah. But you can have B vitamin deficiency, and you can have calcium deficiency, and you can have, what is the other one that's really important? I'm forgetting. Because look, I'm not a vegan. But I remember reading Dr. McDougall's Forks Over Knives. Okay? He's a vegan. And he says, look, I'm a vegan, or he's not technically a vegan. He says he has turkey every 2 years on Thanksgiving. Okay? So barring every 2 years, him having one meal of turkey, he's a vegan. Okay? So I'm going to call him a vegan because I don't want people telling me, actually, sir, professor, no, actually, coach, he is not a vegan. He has turkey every 2 years. Believe me, I've followed his work quite closely. Barring that, the guy's a vegan. Okay? He's 99% vegan. He says he takes B12 vitamins, he takes supplements, and he takes, if I'm remembering correctly, it was calcium. That's because the diet is not fully nutritious. He's lacking something. So all I'm saying to you guys is if you're doing vegan, you should know the ins and outs of the diet before you go vegan, okay? Because you could be missing something, you're not feeling so hot, and it could affect your health. Okay, so look, just because you didn't eat meat for a while doesn't mean you're going to die. No, you could be very healthy on a vegetarian diet. Very healthy, okay? The healthiest people in the world, they eat very little meat, but they still eat some meat, okay? So there is a place for meat. That's very important. Now, I think meat is a great source of nutrients. It's actually the most satiating and nutritious food. Because you want a food that's nutritious and satiating because you'll overeat it if it's not, right? So why take meat off the table? Why? You have to have a good reason. So my opinion, what's the reason? Now, sometimes they bring up moral dilemmas, but here's the thing. Your philosophies are not so airtight, okay? So I would love to have a discussion with a vegan on the moral side. I would love to have an honest, friendly discussion and not trying to change his particular views, but just to see why we consider it to be moral to eat meat, okay? I believe it is moral to eat meat. I don't think it's haram or bad or evil or anything like that, okay? It's inevitable for life to go on. There has to be some death. I believe this. Now, prove me wrong, we'll have a discussion, but I need somebody who's kind of like level-headed, intelligent, and respectable, like a respectable figure, not some thug on the street who wants to come here and get clicks, so it'd have to be somebody, he doesn't have to be a saint, but he has to be somebody of of merit, and he just can't be an ass, the guy's he's got to be chill. He's got to be a chill vegan. We got to fight ourselves a chill vegan. I found a really good Buddhist professor. You guys didn't like what I said about Buddhism. You thought I got it all wrong. Okay, bring a Buddhist professor. Let's do it. And we did it, and I thought we had a great chat. And he was very satisfied that I understood their core doctrine. He was very satisfied. I reiterated to him, and he's like, yes, you understand it perfectly. Just to show you guys that I've studied their philosophies for many years, I'm very well-versed in their doctrines. Okay, not very well-versed. As an outsider, I'm well-versed. As an outsider. Of course, they're 10 times more well-versed, and I appeal to them when I ask them their opinions on the faith. I appeal to them, of course. But it doesn't mean we don't understand their doctrine either. Okay. Coach, what are your thoughts on F1 drivers' body weight neck exercises? That's from Tafara. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do they have a particular routine that's pretty popular? Because I'm more familiar with the wrestlers, neck bridging and stuff like that. But what do F1 body weight neck exercises? What are those? I'm not familiar. Guys, no talk about moms, all right? Let's just be sure. No talk about moms here. You're going to get in trouble here. The great Jake Shields is vegan. You should interview him. That's from Kelvin. Kelvin, I've hung out with Jake and I talked to him about it, man. I love Jake. Guys, I love Jake, man. I talked to him about it before we did our podcast, long before. And I asked him, we're sitting down, we're having lunch together. And he was having a vegan lunch. And I was like, and look, don't get me wrong. Like, he's had proteins, okay? Like, he's had flesh foods. But he's vegan. He was, I don't know if he still is. I'd have to ask him. But we're sitting down, we're having lunch. I can't remember who he was fighting. We're at a UFC event. And we're hanging out. And I'm a big Jake Shields fan, guys. I love Jake Shields, okay? And I was asking him, so Jake, like, tell me, like, why are you vegan? I'm just curious, you know? Like, he was like, hey, you know what? I've never known any other way. He grew up vegan. So for him, this is how we eat. You know, this is how me and my family eat. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. You know, that's really fascinating. I mean, you're surrounded with people who eat meat. You don't have a conviction necessarily that it's evil. And yet you still don't eat meat. And it's like, yeah, that's it. That's just like the way I was taught. You know, this is just me. And I found that fascinating. Guys, he's a very interesting person. But I would love to have a podcast with him. I'm just talking about it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely I would. Coach, what martial arts discipline would you need to learn in order to beat 99% of men? How many days a week to train and how many years? Thanks. That's from King Chris. Look, I would tell you mixed martial arts for sure and about 10 years of serious training. Now I would tell you then you'd be in the 1 percentile. 1%. Like there's very few guys who could put their hands on you and not regret it. Okay? Not regret it because this is like MMA training. You know how to punch. You have good conditioning. You know Muay Thai. You know how grappling. You know wrestling. You know how to fight. Dude, it's going to be tough. Even me, I won't want to tangle with you because even maybe I could subdue you, but it will take me a lot of time and I can take a lot of punishment. I don't want to try. And I've been doing it 25 years because if you've been training 10 years, it might be tricky. I might tangle with you and I might get hurt. Like you're a dangerous guy right now. If you've been training 10 years, seriously, it's a risky venture for me to try to put the pain on you. So I'm telling you, you would have everybody on notice. And that's the thing. You don't have to be able to beat everybody. You just got to be so dangerous they don't want to try. They're like, hey, man, you know, this guy, if he throws a back fist or a elbow and I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time, this could be the end for me. So it's not necessarily you have to beat them on the judge's scorecard and, oh, therefore I could have defended myself on the guy. No. How much can you hurt that guy and you're not worth it? You're not worth him fighting with you. So he'll show you respect. He won't tangle with you. Guys, the best way to keep the peace, the best way is to be too hard to attack. Then everybody gives you a different look. Everybody's more friendly with you. You know, there's a reason why countries don't attack Russia. Russia has nuclear weapons. That's the truth. They don't. If Russia didn't have nuclear weapons, they would have been out of the picture a long time ago, my friend. A long time ago. There's a reason why people don't attack certain countries because they're too powerful to attack and they can hit back. So I highly understand why certain countries they're in a neighborhood with other people have these very powerful weapons. They want to have them too. Yeah, they want to protect their generations. They want to protect their progeny. They want to protect their resources. I wouldn't want to be in the neighborhood where I have the weakest weapon. No. They're going to find the reason. They're going to find the reason why you owe them something, why they need to come and rescue you, or why they need this special operation, or why they're going to wake up some narrative and why they have the right to defend themselves or whatever, some kind of BS story because they think if they just say it loud enough and often enough, it's true. And really what they want is they want your resources. They want to get rich. And the way to avoid that is to be too strong, too prepared. And that's true for every level of life, my friends. You know what I teach my kids? I tell them, look, one day when you have something you love and you want to keep, you have to think every day on how to stop anybody from taking it from you. That's what you got to do. How do I stop anybody from ever taking this from me? That's it. I teach this to my kids. My kids are young. I tell them, guys, if you're not preparing from now, one day you're going to have something you love and somebody's going to just take it out of your hands. They're just going to take it from you. And you're going to want to appeal to the law and the government and they're not going to be, they might help you. They might not. That's not the best way. The best way is, hey, I can control and protect this thing and it belongs to me. Because you know what? Put these ideas in my head. Look, I've been studying philosophy for so long. Of course, many of you know I have a philosophy background. Now, let me tell you one thing, okay? In philosophy, we ask ourselves, like we talk about civilizations. Should we own anything or should everything be shared? Like imagine, let's say there's a pool. Okay, the pool's for everybody. Let's say we have an apple tree. Okay, the apple tree's for the whole neighborhood. Everybody gets their share of the apple. Or should somebody own that apple tree, own that apple farm, and we have to buy the apples from the guy? What's a better system? A privatized system or a public system? A communist system or a capitalist system? And of course, we argue back and forth. But I'll tell you something. The second you want to say you own something, I own it. It's mine. It's private. Well, you don't own it unless you could defend it. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Now, we're talking about the real world now, okay? If you own something, if you claim to own something, you own that car, you own that house, you own that brick of gold over there, that means you're ready to stop anybody from taking it from you. Because if you don't defend your property, well, then you don't own it. Somebody can just get your keys, get in your car, and drive off with it. Well, what makes you the owner? The owner means I control who uses this car, when, who, where, if I rent it, if I sell it, if I just use it for myself. I control these resources. I control these assets. If you don't have that control, well, guess what? You don't really own it. Venezuela doesn't own any oil. America owns that oil. Why? Because they can hold it, protect it, exploit it. Now, I don't think that's correct. I'm not talking about morally, guys. Morally, I think that's Venezuela's oil and their people's oil. What I'm trying to say is they don't get any of that oil. Why? They can't defend it. So if I was the Venezuelan leader, I would have been like, hey, how are we going to protect this oil? I need to find somebody who really needs oil and can help me protect this oil. And he has a ventured interest, because I'll be looking, look, Venezuela's 100 years away from being able to protect this oil by itself. Okay, well, I would have to think outside the box. I'd have to think of a way. I would think day and night, me and my staff, with day and night, we would be thinking about how to protect this oil we live on. Because I would know that it's a matter of time before somebody declares that oil to be theirs. Guys, I hate to say it. It's not right. It's not necessarily nice, but it's been the way of the world. It's been the way of mankind for since history, since they started writing the history. The history means his story, the story of man. History, as you know it, his story. Man has been taking other men's stuff since the beginning. Okay? Since the beginning. So I'm just telling you guys, like, it's every facet of your life. And 10 years of martial arts, for sure you could protect you and your entourage, your well-being. And don't forget, that 10 years is a joy. I wouldn't stop after 10 years. I would continue. I did continue. Make it a joy, guys. Training is a joy. It's a pleasure. It's a part of your life. It's like, I feel, like when I take a shower, I feel good. When I train, I feel good. Like I took a shower internally. Like I just moved everything around inside my body, and everything like feels better now. Like my organs are better. Of course they're gonna say it's what's that hormone again? I'm forgetting. Oxytocin. Oh, you release oxytocin. It's true. Yeah, for sure they can measure it. But I also feel this sensation of well-being. Coach, miss my super chat. That's from Methane. Methane, I'm circling hard to find it, my friend. Methane. Hey, for us, I'm an organizer of the Montreal Quintet grappling event. What's your opinion on the format? How can I improve it for future edition? That's from Pure Marbid. Pure Marbid, you know what you should do? If you're in Montreal, come see me. I'm there every single day at noon. Every single day at noon. And every single night at 6:45 p.m. with my jiu-jitsu guys. But I'd like you to come in at noon one day, sit down. I'll have you talk with some of my students that are kind of organizing stuff. Jiu-jitsu tournaments is done in the past. And yeah, we could talk about it, because I have actually a very good idea for grappling rules and stuff like that. But it's a little bit crazy outside the box. But I definitely would want to chit-chat with you. Definitely. So pass by the gym any day of the week, 12 o'clock. So from Monday to Saturday. But not this next coming week, because I'm away for a fight. The week after, I'm there. Will low-rank UFC fighters ever get paid big bucks? That's from Ponderlust. Ponderlust. I suggest you check a new handle. And lower-level boxers, lower-level MMA fighters, I don't think ever get paid good. Like lower-level NFL players get big bank. Like the lowest NFL payroll last I saw was like 500,000. The bench warmer's getting 500K. Will the guy who gets into UFC one and done get 500K? I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, my friend. Not in our lifetime. Coach, Aussie MMA, the MMA coach said his first 2 years of MMA career should be 70% wrestling, 30% BJJ, and no striking at all. I'm 17, been doing BJJ for 3 months. What do you think about this? Is this bad advice? No, I don't think that's bad advice. Methane. That's very good advice. Guys, I know Coach Aussie. I follow him. He's a great trainer. He's a great mind, the MMA mind. I agree with him, but I wouldn't necessarily... Look, here's the thing. I think starting with grappling arts is a very good idea. Why? Because you develop your strength. You know, you develop that struggle, and you're not getting hit in the head. You're 17. Okay, I don't want you to be brain dead when you're 21. So if you're wrestling, you're getting that strength. You're developing that strength. You're not going to be brain dead, and you're letting your brain fully mature. And then when we go into the striking, you're going to have that extra strength. When we touch your body like a stone, you know, you're like really you're a strong guy. You can't get that kind of strength necessarily with weights. You can a little bit, but actually wrestling every day, like it just develops that farmer type strength, that functional strength. Okay, I know these are not scientific terms, but it's more like bro gym talk. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay, so you're getting that grinding strength. When you convert that to boxing later, great, that's fantastic. And your brain is fully matured and healthy. I don't think you should be getting hit in the head too much. Now, I would tell you personally, look, you could do a boxing routine, but don't do the heavy rounds of sparring. You're young. 17 is a little bit young. Okay? Like George only started heavy sparring at, I would say, 18, 19. George St. Pierre. Late. That's very late. Actually, you know what? Like heavy sparring, like, yeah, 19, 18. Let's call it 19. 19. Okay? His brain is intact. He became world champion. Before that, he was doing a lot of track and field and a lot of jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling. Okay? So what I'm telling you, that formula, we've seen it work. Now, 70% wrestling, 30% jiu-jitsu, I would tell you I would go more 50-50. I would go more 50-50. Okay? Because if a guy doesn't know how to get past a guillotine, Darce, anaconda, he might get choked out. You know? So I think the days of wrestling being so much more dominant and whatnot has a lot to do with the rule set. So it's not crazy, but I would play around with that number a little bit. I'll probably make it 50-50. All right. Remember when you were in Hamburg with Mirzad Bektik? That's from Ilya Apturu. Which fight was that? Which fight was in Hamburg? Which fight was that? Mirzad Bektik and me were in Hamburg. Guys, I've been to Germany a handful of times. Which fight was the Hamburg fight? I'm forgetting, guys. That's how many fights I've done. It's crazy. Plus, you mix in the CTE with all 25 years of teaching. I've been going to UFC since 20... Oh, man. What was the year again? Since 2002? Like, it's been over 24 years. No. Hold on a second. It can't be that. I think, let's call it 2005. I have to one day, like, sit down and calculate it. But it's like 2004. Let's say 2004. And I'm going to another fight next week. So that's, let's call it 22 years. 22 years. Sometimes, like, fights I was at pop up in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot completely about that fight. It's just insane. And that's just UFC. Imagine all the other promotions I've been to. So which fight was in Hamburg? Guys, I love Germany, by the way. I've been to Germany, I think, like 4 or 5 times. I love it. Can't remember who it was. Who the opponent was. That's going to drive me nuts. I'll have to look it up later. Coach, is love to see do a MMA exhibition. You are a lethal weapon. That's from M1. Yeah, maybe one day. Coach, I recently dislocated my shoulder a few months ago. I'm starting BJJ when fully recovered. A bad idea. That's from Ambient. Just take it easy, man. Go slow. Okay, go slow. Take it easy, and don't forget the pain rule. Okay, the pain rule: never let pain go more than 7 on 10. Okay, never. Versus Abu Azaitar? No, Mirza Bektik didn't fight Abu Azaitar. Guys, what are you talking about? Casino. I don't think Mirza wasn't. It was not Mirza Bektik in Germany. I don't remember. I don't think it was in Germany. Ah la la. You're the reason I train, brother. That's from Yusuf. Awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that, guys. Every man should train. Every single man should know how to train. Like, how could you not be able to train? How's that possible? Doesn't make any sense. Like, you keep your body young, fit, and you keep your mind confident. You have to be able to protect and provide for your family. It's going to change your psychology. Your psychology will change. I mean, if I had no martial arts training, I would feel like if I was walking around without clothes. Like, I feel like vulnerable. Like, it's like either have the pain of training, which is actually a pleasure, turns into pleasure, or have the discomfort of being always on edge, like you can't defend yourself if you needed it. Goodness gracious, what a torment that must be, guys. That must be a torment. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of guys in the chat here that are probably not training. I think a majority of you have some training. Imagine a regular Joe. Imagine how he must feel. Like, I would feel insecure. All right, guys, we got Shiz in the house. Of course, Coach, why do you think Alex didn't want to defend his lightweight belt? Could it be possible that he didn't want to ever deal with one of the greatest grapplers, 185, also 170-pound uncrowned champ? I love the status, baby. That's from Shiz. Shiz, I'll tell you something why he released his title. Because they're probably going to put him in the main event against you-know-who at 205. What do you think is going to happen? Excuse me, at heavyweight. Did I say 205? I meant heavyweight. He's probably going to fight John Jones at the White House, 205. Now, it hasn't been announced. It's being rumored. I really hope that's not the case. Because I can't think of spending months hearing you guys complain about the White House main event, and then after the White House main event, how you all knew the result, and what a waste of time. Why did they bring us to watch the fight at the White House? Why did they hype it up? And of course, they're going to try to sell us the fight like it's 50-50, and we're all going to be like, no, it's not 50-50. They have to hype up the fight. They're going to have to hype up Pereira like he's the guy who could beat the great John Jones, and we're all going to be like, that's not true. All the real hardcore fans are going to be like, that's a joke. That's just propaganda. That's just White House lies. More White House lies. Okay? It's all hype for the White House. It's not true. So I really hope they're not announcing Pereira John Jones. I really hope, man. Now, that's that's maybe what we're getting. That's why now they're stripped. They made him release his title. Now, is he doing it to avoid Shamaev? He's not getting any favors going up to fight heavyweight. If he fights Gan, he's going to lose. If he fights John Jones, he's going to lose. So could it be Pereira Gan? Could it be? Could it possibly be they're going to be heavyweight Pereira versus Gan? Versus Gan? Yes, very possible. Because Tom got his eyes poked out. The guy's got his eyes poked out. So it's probably going to be Gan and Pereira. Now, would I be unhappy about that? It's still no Ilya Topuria Makhachev. Now, you know what could be great? Ilya Topuria Makhachev headliner, co-main event, Pereira Gan. I'll be super happy. I'm a happy camper. I'll be really happy. I will be smiling ear to ear. But if the main event is Pereira Gan, I'm not that happy. Just being honest. Coach Ian Gary is 100% vegan and he seems to be pretty healthy. That's from Brian. Brian, yeah, that's true, man, for sure. But also, he might be taking supplements. Guys, I'm telling you, you can be vegan and be healthy. I never contested that. All I'm saying is you have to know what you're doing. He's got a nutritionist. He's got a guy who's an expert in the vegan diet, and he knows how to get his nutrients to his fighter the correct way. What I'm just trying to tell you guys is don't start eating Doritos and soft drinks and thinking, yeah, I'm a vegan, I should be healthy. No, there's a madness. And there's a method to the madness, okay? You can't just be vegan. Oh, I just don't eat animal products and therefore I'll be healthy. No. You have to have a strategy. You have to know what nutrients you need, etc. So there are certain deficiencies if you don't eat the right foods. If you do eat the right foods, you'll be perfectly healthy. Now, even the top vegan in the world takes supplements. So I'm telling you, Ian Gary probably takes supplements. If he doesn't, over time, his body will start to deteriorate. Okay, it could take many years. Now, I couldn't understand. If I would love to hang out with him one day and I'll ask him, why are you a vegan? Like, why did you choose veganism? Like, what's your rationale? I would love to hear his nutritionist bring it up. What's the rationale? Why eliminate the most satiating and nutritious food? Meat, protein is literally the most satiating and nutritious food. Like, that's like what are the best things to put in your body? It's nutritious and it's satiating. Like, if you want to be in shape, if you want to be muscular, if you want to be ripped, why not eat meat? So I would love to hear the answer to that. I would absolutely love it. He is sponsored from one of the best vegan organic brands of supplements. So yeah, he is Ian Gary. That's okay. So he has an incentive. He has a monetary incentive. They pay him a lot of money and he's well followed by a nutritionist. That's all I'm saying. I'm telling you guys. If you know what you're doing with the vegan diet, you can be healthy. Absolutely. Look, I'll tell you something what I don't like about the vegan diet, okay? Because I never went vegan, but I once upon a time was doing like more the Okinawan diet, okay? Where you eat very little meat. So I was eating 2 deck of cards worth of protein, flesh food a week. Or 3 times a week, actually. 2 to 3 times a week, okay? And so I was eating a lot of plant foods. And I was doing fine, but it's too much going to the bathroom and too much gas. Too much going to the bathroom. Too much gas. Too much intestinal discomfort. So look, I learned a lot from that diet. I learned a lot of going to like plant foods on a regular basis. I eat, of course, a lot of plant foods, but I also feel more balanced in terms of my intestines, my comfort, okay, when I eat flesh foods. Because I get way less gas and I feel satisfied and I feel energetic and I feel good. Now, I personally like to eat meat after training, not necessarily before training, because I've learned when I don't eat meat before training, I feel better. My practices are better. Why? I don't have anything floating around in my stomach. Okay, so everything has its time and place. I like to use every possible type of food to get the benefits from that food. Why eliminate the literally most nutritious / satiating food? Doesn't make sense to me. Unless there's some kind of moral dilemma. Is it sufficient to only eat fish or meat? Is it sufficient to only eat fish for meat? Or is it still missing too much? That's from Casino. You can get away with just eating meat and you can get away with just eating fish and plant foods. But then again, why take out the red meat? Why take out something that's going to give you a lot of iron? Let's say you're a little bit anemic. Well, iron is in red meat. It's perfect. Think about it as a medicine. I love what Hippocrates says. Let food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Every doctor has to take a Hippocratic oath. Who's Hippocrates? One of the greatest medical thinkers in history. He was a philosopher and medical thinker. And he said, look, your food should be your medicine. And your medicine is your food. Like every day you're eating for your health. This food is medicine. So there's pros and cons to fish and there's pros and cons to red meat. Red meat gives you more iron. Fish gives you healthy fats for your heart. Okay, among other things. But I'm telling you, look, they're both a different type of medicine. Why eliminate one medicine? Why? Balance your diet. I would tell you, look, they recommend fish once to twice a week. Not more because it has mercury. So once or twice a week, it's very good for your brain, very good for your heart, etc. So why not have fish once, twice a week and flesh foods on other days? Why? Red meat on other days. Why? You can make sure you have adequate amount of iron. Because you have to know you have to get your iron, right? So I've had fighters who, when they test their blood, they see, oh, you're a little bit low on iron. We're going to up your red meat. They use the food as medicine. Okay, so you need vitamin B12. They give you red meat. Thoughts on Ryan Hall outside Funk Roll? He was working on it with you before Ilya fight, but but keeping it a little bit secret till now. He finally released video outside roll equals easy wrestling takedown. That's from Chris. Chris, yes, I've been working with him for many years on it. He's the world's greatest funk roller. He released a video. I'll tell you guys, run and get it because it's great. It's amazing. Of course, I can't show that move because that's his move. He figured it out. He's perfecting it, and I'm just a student of the funk roll. I love the funk roll, guys. I absolutely love the funk roll, and I know a lot about it, but I'm not gonna share it with you guys because that's his thing. So you guys get where I'm going with this. He's a genius funk roller, and I love the funk roll. Now, I think in congruence with other moves, it works beautifully. You can't just make it the one move you go to. So I'm not trying to tell you that, okay? I'm not trying to tell you that it's the one move that you don't have to learn to wrestle anymore. Oh, I know funk roll, guys, so I don't have to wrestle. No, that doesn't make, I don't agree with that. Okay, so I'm telling you, learn how to wrestle, learn how to grapple, include the funk roll in that curriculum, and the funk roll will complement all the other stuff you're doing. It all works in synergy, guys. There's no one move that if you learn it, like, is there one guard pass and that's it? You know this one guard pass and you never have to know any other? No, it doesn't work that way, right? Funk roll is a really great takedown, but you have to use it with among other takedowns. Because if you only know that one move, it might work for a while. Then people are going to catch on to, hey, this guy only does this one move. Here's a way to avoid it, right? So you got to have other moves to help you set up your funk roll, right? So if the guy doesn't give me the funk roll, I might take the snap down. He doesn't give me the snap down, I might take the underhook. He doesn't give me the underhook, I might go sweep single. He doesn't give me the sweep single, boom, I went back to the funk roll and I caught him. Okay, so you got to play the game. All right, guys, it's been an hour and a half. It's time to call this one. I'm maybe going to go live tomorrow night again, so let's maybe call this one. If I don't go live tomorrow night, I'm probably going to go live the night after. Okay, but then after that, I'm headed to Vegas, so I won't be going live when I'm in Vegas. I highly doubt I'm going to have time to go live when I'm in Vegas. So, guys, please let me end this one on something fun and light. Craig Jones said he's going to get women involved in his videos so the Dagestanis can't watch and counter him. As he said, it's haram. X7, that's hilarious. Did he say that? Oh, my God. He's a wild man. He's crazy, Craig Jones. He's crazy, man. Coach, please update that man who guessed your... Oh, you're talking about the guy who guessed all my thoughts and all that? That's from Ahmed. Ahmed, I have no update. I never reached out to him. I didn't communicate with him. I burned that little paper he gave me, and that's it. That's it. I burned it. That's it, guys. I have no other explanation. I have no comment. The guy was able to guess what I was thinking. Coach, who do you got, Charles or Holloway? That's from Tafara. Tafara, I'm going with Holloway. Why? I trust Holloway's chin more. His durability more. Now, I'm not counting Oliveira out, but I just feel that he gets dropped every single fight. Oliveira always gets tagged bad in every single one of his fights. How many times has Max Holloway been finished? Once. Guys, how many times? Once. By who? Arguably the second greatest fighter of our generation. After Makhachev. Pound for pound. Pound for pound. He's been finished once. How many times has Oliveira been finished? Let's look it up, okay? This is a very important statistics. How many times has Oliveira been finished? Guys, and I love Oliveira. I'm not giving him any... I'm not trying to be negative here, okay? I love Oliveira. He's been KO'd or TKO'd 5 times. He's been subbed 4 times, okay? So that's 9. 9 times. He's 24-11 in UFC. Okay, the guy's a monster. He's a killer. He has double-digit losses, but he's fought the who's who. He's literally fought all the best guys. He's fought 3 generations of fighters. He's fought 3. He's been around a long time. How old is he right now? Hold on, let me see here. How old is he? He's 36 years old. Okay, he's Unk season for him. It's Unk season. He's fighting Max Holloway. Let's look at Max Holloway. Max Holloway's lost. He's lost a few. He's lost 8. Okay, he's 23-8. And he has been finished. He's been TKO'd or KO'd once in his career. That was been a long... Oh, yeah, that's the Topuria fight, of course. Once. He's been submitted once. Who submitted him? Was it Dustin? Hold on a second. Who submitted him? Who submitted him? I can't remember. It was in UFC. It was Dustin. No, it wasn't Dustin. Hold on a second. I'm forgetting. Who submitted Max Holloway? Dustin Poirier. Yes, that's right. He fought Dustin Poirier in 2012. I think I was there for that fight. In 2012, he got triangle armbar. I actually have to go back and watch that fight. They fought in 2012. What was that fight card? That was Diaz versus Condit. Oh, no, I wasn't there. I watched that on TV. That's right. I watched that one on TV. Koscheck fought Mike Pierce. Hernan Barral beats Scott Jorgensen. Ed Herman beat Clifford Starks. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Poirier subbed Holloway. I'm looking at the card here. Okay, hold on a second. The main event was Carlos Condit versus Nick Diaz. It's funny because me and George were just talking about that fight 2 days ago. And that was a very close fight between Condit and Diaz. An extremely close fight. If you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch that fight. Tell me who won. Guys, I just feel that Holloway's durability is greater, but doesn't mean that Oliveira can't win. He still can win. It's just going to be a tough one. Isn't fighting during Ramadan not recommended? Why do Muslims do it? That's from True Speaker. Well, True Speaker, if your job doesn't allow you to do Ramadan, you can pay a charity and just do your job. Let's say you're a surgeon, right? You got to be on your feet for 16 hours. You're doing a crazy life-saving surgery, and it's Ramadan. Well, we can excuse you. You know, the religion will excuse you, and you can kind of like every day we miss Ramadan, we give a charity. You know, we give it a charity to have to feed a family. So the amount that would feed a family, let's say. Okay, so why? Because you know one of the reasons why we do Ramadan is to eliminate starvation. We want to eliminate starvation from the world. Okay, so when you fast, you start to empathize with people who are going hungry. You know, so whenever we're hungry, we're like really can't wait for the time to expire so we can eat. We're like, oh, think about those people who they're hungry like you, but they cannot have a dinner. They have no access to food, especially in our day and age. It's sad that still I believe the statistics last I checked was like 20,000 people a day die from starvation. We definitely have more food in the world. We have so much food in the world. We produce so much food that we could feed the entire world. However, still 20,000 people a day die from starvation. Very sad. All right, guys, we got to end it on something light and fun. Okay, light and fun. Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris. Who you got? Okay, guys, that's Shiz. Thank you, Shiz, for saving me. Guys, no more super chats. Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris. Guys, I'll tell you something. I've seen Chuck Norris move, kickbox, shadow box, hit the bag and stuff. And I've seen Bruce Lee. I'll tell you something. When I see Bruce Lee move, it blows my mind. Blows my mind how he moves. Okay, now I know Chuck Norris got a black belt from the Machado brothers. And that's later. Okay, that's after his golden age. But he's still a jiu-jitsu black belt. Okay, could he take down? Let's say Bruce Lee was alive today. I'm sure Bruce Lee would also be a black belt. Okay, but back in the day when they were both white belt grapplers, and they're in a striking fight, who wins, Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee? Guys, by watching their footage, I would tell you Bruce Lee by a mile. He was lightning fast. His mechanics were incredible. The power he generated when he hit the bag, astonishing. I know he's a movie character. A lot of you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, coach, come on, he's just a." No, guys, I'm telling you, his movement is incredible. His power, his speed, his precision. When he hits the bag, look at what he does to the bag. It's incredible. He side kicks the bag, pop, pop. That guy can generate power, guys. He was big into isometrics. He was freakishly strong. He knew about training. He studied training very carefully. He fell in love with Western boxing. He did only about 5 years of Western boxing, but he was a very good athlete. He moved beautifully. He was He was brilliantly coordinated. He came from a dancing background. The guy could move, and he understood fighting at a high level. He did a deep immersive dive in it. Now, of course, he wasn't a professional fighter. He didn't exploit his potential 100%, but he was still a very special person. And in that regard, I would 100% pick Bruce Lee. All right, guys, with that said, thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you guys probably tomorrow night. I might do another one tomorrow night. If not, it's going to be Tuesday night. And maybe I might get crazy and do Monday and Tuesday night. But I hope you guys had fun. And don't forget, use promo code GET50 off. Get 50% off anything on jujitsuclub.com. I just released today side-to-side passing, made easy. Advanced Basics Volume 31. Guys, check out Apex Meditation. I promise you will not regret it. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you.